guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at Volkswagen in North Tampa for a very good reason. It's this car right here. This is it. This is the all-new, totally redesigned Volkswagen Golf R. But before we get into the Mark 8, the 8th generation of this ultra hot hatch, let's talk about what's going on here. First of all, let's talk about who owns this car. He's a fan, he's a subscriber, and he's also a salesperson here at Volkswagen of North Tampa. So we definitely got to thank Chris for allowing us access to his brand new baby. But you know what? It's not just about Chris having a passion for Volkswagen. It's also about Volkswagen having that passion for an enthusiast type car. It all started with the original GTI in the 1980s. That was the hot hatch. That's where it all started. But you know what? Fast forward to the Mark 8, Volkswagen is bringing that all-wheel drive power in a little bit different way, but guess what? We have more horsepower. You're still gonna have your choice of a manual or the DSG, that 7-speed DCT transmission, but Volkswagen wants to continue the heritage that they started with this all-wheel drive vehicle as being the premium performance hatchback that they think that it is. Now, of course, in this segment, at this price point, there is some competition. The main one is gonna be obviously the other vehicle that has that all-wheel drive. That's gonna be the Subaru WRX STI, but there's also another player that does not have all-wheel drive. It actually has front-wheel drive. And when you put that car, that Honda Civic Type R, onto a racetrack, people's jaws just drop and their minds are blown. So what I wanna find out is, which is the better performance car? Is it this new Mark 8 Golf R? Is it the Type R, or is it the Subaru WRX STI? Let's dive into Chris's brand new white Golf R and find out. Right off the bat, I love the changes that they made to the styling. They actually did a little bit of their promise to go more aggressive compared to the Mark 7 and 7.5. Now, looking at the headlight design, you'll see, just like we brought to you on the GTI, all new headlight housing. You can see the LED daytime running lamps, LED headlights, and our turn signals. Now, when you go Golf R, instead of getting the red striping that you would get on a GTI, you actually get this bright blue striping. And I'm so glad that Chris decided to go with the white one, because it really allows the blue to pop nicely across the front area. Now, working our way down, we have the F word. No, not that F word, you sicko. We're talking about functionality in each corner. That's gonna help bring gobs of air for the heat exchangers, because remember, we have larger turbo, larger intercooler, larger amount of horsepower. Now, there is a bit of gloss black, but I think it balances nicely with the white coming across the front. Of course, we're gonna have our new R badge. They updated the font, the way that they do the R badge. This is a true performance R car from Volkswagen. This isn't an R line. We have the LED daytime running lamps in the center here. At night, you could see this car from a mile away and know it's the new Volkswagen Golf R. Of course, we got our VW badge, all started from the 1930s. The people's car, Farfanugan. It's all about that driving pleasure. Now, working our way down, they increased the lower grille area to flow more air to the intercooler, to the radiator. I like the way they worked that lower splitter into the bottom portion. That's gonna help scoop air in and stop air from going underneath. Plus, because it's larger, it definitely looks more aggressive than the previous generation. Now, when we get up onto that low slung hood, you're still gonna get the same great body lines. There's a nice rise that is created from the lines on both sides. And then of course, you're gonna get the ones that come up and flow right towards the side mirrors. That's gonna give you the perfect vantage point to hit your apexes, no matter what twisty road you're on or your favorite racetrack. You could do that right from the business end. Now, when we come around the bend, we do have some new things to talk about: new wheels, tires, and brakes. So what you're looking at is a 19-inch wheel. Love the way they went machined aluminum Y-spoke. You see the Y-spoke all the way around with the gloss black. I love the bright blue calipers, massive calipers with the R badging that are gonna clamp down on these 14-inch rotors. The rotors are cross-drilled and of course fully ventilated, and they're two-piece to cut down on heat buildup. Also, it's a lighter system, so that is going to help with our rotating mass. Now, underneath all four corners, we're going to have adaptive dampers that have been fine-tuned for the new chassis in the Mk8. But let me know what you think. I feel like these wheels are more aggressive than the last generation, but let me know what you think about the new wheel and tire setup. Put that in the comment section. But of course, we have the all-wheel drive. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of this? You're looking at 235 on the width and then a 35 series sidewall. But remember, power going from the front to the rear. Unlike the GTI, that is going to be front-wheel drive. Now, if you're comparing this to the Subaru WRX STI does have 19-inch wheels and does have all-wheel drive. The Type R, remember, has the larger wheels. Those are 20-inch wheels, but it's front-wheel drive. But working our way down the side, I think it's smart how they do the nice badging here with the R, nothing too gaudy. My only question is, why didn't they put some blue here? They got blue on the front. I want a little blue on the side there because they do it on the GTI with red. So I'm a little confused why they didn't do that. When you go Golf R though, you're gonna get these shiny aluminum finish on the side mirrors with your turn signals, and then you're gonna have a nice size sunroof. Now I am gonna have to zonk it because I wish they would have blacked out the whole roof. Wouldn't you agree with me? A blacked out roof on this pure white Golf R would just look so super sexy, but I wish that they would have done that, but they didn't, and that's why we're zonking it. But the side sill is specific to the Golf R compared to the GTI, very aggressive. It's got a nice kick up as you come towards the rear. And then speaking of the rear, let's talk about what's going on here. So when you're looking at this rear tire setup, of course you're getting a 19-inch wheel. How the power gets to this setup is a little bit different. So they got rid of the old system and they put in this twin clutch pack system that's gonna send power left or right depending on what you're doing. And remember, this is the first Golf R to have actual drift mode, which is kind of cool to get that rear end to pivot, but you're still working a 235. I wish they would have went just a little bit wider on the wheels and tires, maybe a 245, even a 255 I think would have looked sick with a little bit more flared fender. But working our way towards the rear, speaking of aggressive, they definitely went more aggressive on the rear wing. You have a nice height to it, some gloss black, balances nicely with the pure white that we have, and then super clean on our hot hatch. All we got is the R badge to let you know, hey, don't mess with this vehicle. You do have those full LED turn lights and stop lights. They do a great job with that. And then another way to tell if this is a Golf R, probably the biggest way from the back, is gonna be our quad tip exhaust. Love the oval shape, nice chrome polished tips. Our massive rear diffuser lets you know that, listen, this thing is out of control. Plus we got launch control on this new Mk8. But why don't we pop the hood, talk performance numbers between this and the competition. All right, guys, we got the hood pop. You do have a prop rod. The Type R does have a prop rod from Honda. The Subaru WRX STI does not. Underneath the hood, you do get a semi-tasteful engine cover. And the reason why I'm gonna give it a half zonk is I wish they would have done something to designate this as the Golf R. Maybe make this design blue here or put the R badge, but you know what? It's not about the cover at the end of the day. It's about what's underneath that cover. And new for 2022, we have more horsepower. 315 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. You could either get that 6-speed manual or 7-speed DCT. With the 7-speed DCT, you're looking at 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. The vehicle weighs around 3,500 pounds. MPGs are going to be around 21 in the city, 29 on the highway, and a top speed of 155 miles an hour. Now, if you get the 6-speed, if you're good on your twinkle toes, 0 to 60 will be about 4.5 seconds, and there is no launch control available if you get the manual. Now, if we're comparing this to the Type R, and there's that turbo back there against the firewall, if we're comparing this to the Type R has 306 horsepower. So Type R has less horsepower, but the Type R does have a lighter weight to it without it having all-wheel drive. And then, of course, this even has more horsepower than the Subaru WRX STI. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside Chris's Golf R, this 2022 Mark 8 all-wheel drive, that 4Motion in the Golf R. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been waiting for this review. I've looked at Type Rs. I've looked at Focus RSs. I've looked at STIs. I'm really fascinated with this Golf R. How much is it? So the way that this one is optioned with the DSG, and remember, when we say DSG, that is just Volkswagen speak for a DCT transmission. You're looking at MSRP of $44,475. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Clean German design. So you have soft touch material up top. I'm really digging the overall style of trim that they have at the top portion there. Doesn't look like carbon fiber. Plus there's some blue ambient lighting, but it looks tasteful and something new. On the armrest itself, you do have a soft armrest, no gloss black, what to speak of, so that's great news. And then the door pocket is a nice size. You can easily get your Arby's beef and cheddar with some extra horsey sauce and a bottle of Mountain Dew to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, same story. We got the Harman Kardon sound system. We have the soft touch material. There's the blue ambient lighting. I don't know if Lori can pick it up there, but there's blue ambient lighting between the dash and the top of this material. And I'm liking the finish because it's definitely different than the GTI. And like I said, I think faux carbon fiber has been overplayed too much. Now, new for 2022 is this 10-inch infotainment system. The zonk is there's no physical buttons, but we did spend some time with a GTI for a week, and it is possible to get the hang of things. Now, it's a full touchscreen, which is great, but like I said, there's no physical buttons. We do have, of course, our navigation to get into. You can pull up your map. You got your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You got all that stuff that you already know. But when you go Golf R, watch this. You hit the R button on the steering wheel, which I'll show you that when you come to the business end. Now you have more choices than the GTI. Comfort mode, sport. Hold on, let me bring it back up. Race, drift, Nuremberg ring, and your custom setup. Now, you do have hand gesture controls, as you saw with the AC, the dual climate control. With the Nuremberg ring, that's going to unlock everything. And that makes sense to have it be on that mode because the Nuremberg ring in Germany is that amazing track known as the Green Hell, where Volkswagen has really tested this Golf R. So it's kind of nice for them to bring in all that kind of special touches. We have heated seats, ventilated seats, but like I said, it's a little cumbersome at first, working the infotainment, but after that, you'll get the hang of it. Let me throw it in reverse for you. There's your backup camera. Resolution is pretty good, and you do have your backup sensing technology to keep your Golf R safe, even in the tightest of spots. And then working our way down, you have this little pod to help bring up menus. So you could go and just hit this, and it brings up your modes, or you could hit the R button on the steering wheel. Nice to have options. We do have wireless charging, more blue ambient lighting, which is great. You have a spot here for some Twizzlers. Those are for the Type R owners and all the STI owners that get sad when you beat them at the autocross event. You do have your start stop button. I like the flat black, no fingerprints. It's kind of weird seeing this little nub, but this is how you control the 7-speed DCT, that DSG transmission. I wish they would have done something a little sexier, but it does free up the amount of space here. Of course, we're going to be bringing to you that 6-speed manual very soon. You got 2 cup holders. Here's your key fob. There's your Volkswagen key fob. They did a great job making it classy, making it sleek. You got a cup holder, and watch this. You could put a big cup, like a Super Slurpee, or a smaller bottle, but just by pushing the button. You got a little bit of place here for some Jolly Ranchers, a 12 volt. I highly recommend getting a radar detector in this 4Motion all-wheel drive machine. Soft touch material with the blue stitching. Lift it up. You know what you're gonna put in there? The tiers. There's a jar. There's a Volkswagen Golf R jar that comes with this. You put the tiers of all the STI owners and the Type R owners in there, and then you shake them up as you're driving away. Seats. Love the material, nice soft leather, the R embroidery, and then they have this great bolstering that's not gonna squish you. You do have manual adjustment for the passenger, except for electric on the back. But on the driver's side, the business end, you do have full electric assist, and that's gonna be a zonk. I wish they would have given both the passenger and you full electric assist, because this is the Golf R, this is the top dog. Manual sliding shade, which is great that they give you a shade to block out the sun's rays, but why don't you come over here? I got a brand new Mk8 leather wrap steering wheel with the letter R on it. Come on over, I wanna show you. All right guys, business time behind the wheel of this Golf R. Now, pedal box, Volkswagen does a great job with the pedal box. You have a large dead pedal. Remember, that's important for bracing in the hard corners at your favorite racetrack or the autocross event. We got a nice aluminum brake pedal and throttle. On the seats, you have a total of 3 memory seat settings and all the controls that you need to get the seat just right for you. I'm 6 feet tall, and this is what makes a Golf R so great. There's tons of space. I could grow a little bit more and still feel comfortable in here. Now my hands are gonna feel really good because they get to grab onto this leather wrap steering wheel. You have the 2-piece leather, perforated on the sides, smooth on the top and bottom. We got the R badge with a little bit of blue, all gloss black. And then guess what? We got massive paddles on the back of the steering wheel to go up and down that 7-speed DCT transmission. You do have a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. There is a bit of gloss black, which is a little gloss black heavy, but the great news is you got a beautiful digital display in the center, new on this Golf R with your G meter. It tells you we're in the Nürburgring, and also all the other features that you need with your tachometer across the top there. So really cool to have it set up like that. The buttons, you do have your Volkswagen badge. The one problem, and here's that Golf R button, by the way, nice bright blue. The one problem, the zonk, is that the heated steering wheel button is a little close to the edge of the wheel. So when you're driving, you're gonna accidentally hit it. I've done it before. That's gonna be the one major zonk on the steering wheel. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see how much room there is in this all-wheel drive 4Motion Golf R. All right guys, back seat time, and your passengers are gonna be very happy because not only are they gonna be able to enjoy the twisty bits with you, but you're gonna give them plenty of room back here. You do have pockets up top and a large pocket in the bottom, so that's definitely a nice touch. Now, one of the things I advise doing is keeping a mirror in this top pocket here. This way your passenger can look at themselves and, you know, say, hey, I love you. Because if you can't love yourself, you can't love your Golf R, and you definitely can't love somebody else. So that's something that you could do to help them, almost like a life coach experience by having that mirror here. On my side, same news. There is a good amount of room. I did have to move the seat up a little bit just to kind of showcase how much space you have back here. And you do have heated seats and rear AC controls with the vents and USB-Cs down below, which is also nice. Now, when it comes to the interior, soft just like up front, pull it down. You got a good armrest with plenty of real estate for your actual arm. And then you could easily put 2 little Dannon yogurt containers here with some spoons for those passengers in the back. But speaking of the back, let's go to that cargo area because this is where the Golf R really comes in strong. All right guys, we got this Golf R with that 4Motion all-wheel drive, but we also have that hatchback usability. And what I love about the Volkswagen is how they hide the handle underneath the badge. You lift it up, and even with the all-wheel drive system, you're gonna get 20 cubic feet of space. That's what makes this such a versatile go-to for people who need a daily driver but also want the performance. The seats will obviously fold down to maximize your space, and then because of the all-wheel drive system, there is a little less space, a little less room than the GTI being front-wheel drive. But you know what? What this lacks in cargo space, it more than makes up with it with extra horsepower and all-wheel drive. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take Chris's Golf R for a little spin. All right, guys, we left Volkswagen of North Tampa. We're in Chris's Golf R. Of course, I have it in the Nürburgring mode. It's so cool to say that. We're gonna come to a complete stop and we're gonna go on throttle. Are you ready? I'm ready. On throttle, yeah! The launch control is awesome. I'm telling you, the launch control going with the DCT, yeah, I would prefer the 6-speed manual because I want that more engagement type of driving. But definitely when you're going with the DSG, that 7-speed, that with the launch control, it gets the power down so awesome, and the shifts are freaking faster than you could even think. Like, you think it, it's already shifted. And that's what's gonna allow that 0 to 60 of 3.9 seconds that obliterates the Type R, the STI, the Elantra N, the Veloster N, every other vehicle in this class. And then if you look at, like, say, the Mustang GT or the Camaro SS, you're gonna be able to take those 0 to 60 as well with this all-wheel drive hot hatch. Love the seats, steering wheel just like before. The thickness is spot on the money. And the paddles that they put on this thing is exactly what I have wanted for a very long time, because on the GTI, they still put those little postage stamp size paddles. This has some beefy paddles for the extra beefy horsepower. Getting to everything is well within reach, and I really think that once you figure out the infotainment system, it's not that crazy. It would be nice to have some physical knobs and buttons. The instrumentation is so clear, so well laid out, especially with the tachometer across the top. You got a G meter, and I also have the gauge to show the distribution of power with the all-wheel drive system. And you got drift mode. So you're getting a lot of features on this Golf R. All right, guys, I don't know about you, but I want to see how this Golf R handles through the twisty bits. I'm gonna leave it in automatic shifting mode. We are in sport shift with, like I said, the Nürburgring mode. It's crazy to say that, it really is. On throttle, here we go. Wow. On the brakes. Nice. Really gets the back to pivot. But you are gripping. Jeez, you are gripping that asphalt like there's Gorilla Glue all four corners. Really gets the power down nicely. And it's so cool to glance down real quick and see how the torque is being distributed. All right, I'm gonna shift with those massive beefy paddles. First gear. On throttle, yeah! Nice! Wow. Really handles so well! This thing is totally different than the Mark 7 and 7.5 Golf R, 7.5, whatever way you want to call it. It really has that extra power you want. The torque is in the sweet spot of the rev range. I like the way that with the tech, as you get closer to red line, it starts to flash yellow and then get into the red. And then, of course, just the feedback that you're getting, the way that this car communicates. There used to be so much push in the corners with the Mark 7.5. It just understeered. This thing grips. It really drives more like an Audi. And Chris is a lucky guy to be able to have this. And just so you know, Chris had a GTI 7.5 and wound up trading in for this Golf R. So the guy's a Volkswagen fan, and he's been able to see the changes and the transitions with how they've got to this point. All right, guys, one more time for you. Definitely one more time for me. On throttle. God. Love it. Look at this. Brakes feel phenomenal. The feedback. Wow, 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 wow. It's just crazy what that all-wheel drive system, especially now with the twin clutches sending the power left to right, front to back. I mean, it just allows you to grip that road. And the sound. I'm definitely digging more sound from the Nürburgring mode. You got your race mode, you got your sport mode, now we have Nürburgring mode. But definitely want to thank Chris for allowing us to drive his baby. It's an amazing performance hot hatch. We're going to get back to Volkswagen in North Tampa and wrap this one up.
So I'll see you in a split second.
All right, guys, it's been one heck of an on-throttle kind of day here at Volkswagen in North Tampa. Of course, we definitely need to thank Chris, not only for allowing us to borrow his baby, his new Golf R, but also being a big, huge supporter and fan of Raiti's Rise. But let me know what you think. Has Volkswagen done enough to make the Golf R that automatic go-to over the Type R, over the STI? Let me know what you think in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rise family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you and the channel, click that link in the description. Get yourself some Raiti's Rise merch. Got to give it up to the queen behind the lens, working it like a champ here at Volkswagen in North Tampa. Thank you, Lori, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.